But there are parts in United where this is really annoying. Alright, so what are we doing? We drive now 12 lap races, you see it in the top right, on all these 7 tracks from the qualification, from the seeding. Every player got already points from the seeding. And now we will get also points for our performances here. Points for the position that we finish with. That's the one thing. And we get points for the like the 24 or something best laps that are being driven also get points. And one driver can of course get multiple of these fastest laps. So for my training, so I was not really trained going into the seeding, into the qualification. Also here on stadium, which is like my best environment, of course, I was not doing all too well, sadly, with the points that I got there, with the position that I got. So I actually, however, practiced stadium now for a bit to do well here in the race, to have at least a chance in competing for the top positions on the environment that I should be the best on. Also, that suits me the best. I shouldn't be the winning player here because Roa is, I think, too trained for that. But in theory, also if I was trained here, I think I would do very well on this track. This drift part I have to understand still a bit better. I'm missing a bit of consistency there. Otherwise, good stadium players now are Passi, Sander, Neko and Hawk will of course also do well because they will do well on every environment, of course. They are just practiced. But stadium isn't like their favorite one, but they will still be up there, that's for sure. And Black Q as well. Like, these are the top favorites, all these players that I just mentioned. Apart from Passi, are basically fighting in the all-round championship over this whole cup. So, warm-up will end and then we start. Also, you saw that the start is shit for me with all these cars. It will be very, very annoying to drive. Cut off, see you in 2 hours. Yeah, Carsten, as already showed, are forced on for the whole race. This can be decided by bugs easily. I don't know who the top 1 time is retired. Who is that guy now? Yeah, on stadium I of course wanna do well, but it depends heavily on how I do in the start. If I get rid of all the cars around me quickly or not. If I'm stuck then behind them, then I'm kinda stuck in the no visibility thing and it's hard to overtake. But I think on this map it could spread out quickly, we will find out. I definitely have a okayish pace here on this track. You see from the Daddy Manias almost everyone is on the server, only Narcor and Fref, who are only stadium players, are not there. Okay, let's go. Let's find my car. Also it felt good, but seemingly I lost speed. should be Danik next to me. Of course I'm that unlucky. I can't believe it. I practiced the map quite a bit and I didn't get this bug there. I avoid all the Ramsteins to not get bugs. It was like the one exception that I went over. And of course it bugs me that hard. Holy shit, eh. It's of course costing a lot of time because it's a speedy section. I was just getting past everyone there. I wanted to say already rip to the guy in front of me, but also bug. Race is a bit too short to catch up all the time I lost with that bug. And with the no visibility now. Man, I was just free of these cars. And obviously it bugs me. had no chance. I was in the other car, I didn't see my skid marks, oh god. It was such a bad timing to be in the other car. Because I was not on my typical line there as well. What position am I? 13th. And I lost so much time, I could be so much better. But I can still get them, we are halfway through. And the thing is, I was of course just past them. And I could have had free vision now. Oh, I need to catch up again. It was actually such a time loss there again. But at least an interesting race. Yeah, exactly. My mistake here in this, where I bugged in this corner was because of this disconnected car. And that distracted me there totally. Oh Gott. Some of the cars could be overlaps. Oh! Are you kidding me? I was going for a PB and then I get this really confusing nose slide there. Where I already thought, okay, how is that possible? But how was that a slowdown? I had nice free vision there. Did I overtake? Ah, it was an overlap. So Roa wins the race ahead of Hawk, and then Q Sander, and then the 5th place is what I usually would be on if I was not driving with 31 cars. Oh yeah, with Cam 3 you don't have that issue, yeah. As long as you are ahead. Also with Cam 3, cars are only shown when they are clearly ahead of you, like 0.2 or something, I believe. And here, yeah, this is like... I mean, this is not a normal thing though. Usually you don't play with 31 other cars. But yeah, 9th place in Stadium is not what I wanted. Yeah, I definitely could have been 5th here if I thought about the thing. But then I also thought it could be funny to actually play with all cars enabled and try to do my best to survive in the beginning. But you have to admit, like, it was impossible. It was literally impossible to do well in the first lap and the second lap. After that, however, I got quite some positions. And then the bug killed me. Like, the bug put me again behind 4, 5, 6 other cars. It also did cost me a lot of time in that fast section. And that was the moment when I kinda lost the, like, overall 5th place at the end of the race, I would say. Because that was just putting me again behind other cars, and it was putting me... and it was also costing a lot of time. And then when I was in the other cars, I had then this one big wall touch and the drift. Because I was in those cars, yeah, so if I'm not there, then this doesn't happen, of course, so yeah. That was quite annoying then, because I was like a huge time loss again, and then I had to gain that again back. I still managed to get some positions in the end, but yeah, I lost then too much time to get further ahead. And yeah, as I said, I only practice now extra Stadium and Coast a bit, and Stadium is of course my better environment, so in theory, Stadium would have been now the environment for me to actually get a podium position or something. The only other environment where I can do well is Coast, but there are a bunch of good Coast players, so that's not that easy. So yeah, I expect like with a good race, I guess 7th, 8th place or something, a Coast is realistic. But not like more. And yeah, other than that, now the other environments, I didn't practice at all after the seeding, and in the seeding itself I was also very far behind in those environments. So the question is really like, what can we expect now without any extra training? Desert is definitely one of my worst environments. This map is extremely difficult, you can expect people making mistakes, you can also expect that I will not be completely mistake-free in this environment here on this map, so it's gonna be tough. The cars in these environments here will be spread out way quicker though. That's something we can definitely say, because in Stadium the gaps between the players are relatively small. In the United environments they are rather more big, because it's not just about driving tight turns. In these environments it's also about with how much speed you can actually go through a corner. And it is very difficult to stay close to the limit. In Stadium it is very obvious where the limit is. Yeah, you can easily find the limit. But in Desert, for example, it is very difficult to get close to that limit. And hence you will have big gaps in what kind of times people are able to drive, and you have big gaps in general. So yeah, need to check what is possible here. A clean, mistakeless race would be basically the hopeful solution. What was that kind of lag? You see already my daddy time 24th, and it is 4.7 seconds slower than first on a single lap. But you have to know, there is a part where there is a risky and a safe line, where I take the safe one. So every player has to decide what I do there. But the top players will probably go risky. For me, the risky, I tried it once, it wasn't then even faster, because I didn't take it that well. So yeah. For me, the safe line is then obvious. But the safe line is also difficult to drive well. You can easily lose time there. But yeah, on Stadium we had now, for example, Arubiano ahead of me. That should in theory not happen, to be honest. But that's of course, I mentioned the issues. There's so many cars passing me. How were they behind me after the first lap? Oh god. But I let him through, so I have clear vision now in driving. So even if you set the limit of cars that you see to 4, you would of course see those cars that are close to you. Unless they are inside of you, then they are not shown, because you can also set up that, but I also didn't checkmark that. Okay, let's go. Bit unfortunate that it starts with stadium, you know. If the stadium race comes later, I think people would be more, like, less focused already, and it would be easy to get a top position there. Easier, at least. What position am I battling? Ah, you see that? I make interface on, immediate mistake. Shouldn't have looked. Also 17th it is. I guess the best possible result that I can think of at the end of 12 laps is like a 14th place or something like that. And the worst one is probably around 90th, 20th. That can still easily happen. You see how many cars are next to me. It's a long race. I don't know what that is, but this map here in particular has parts where it starts lagging. But I don't know what it is. Like, it's a weird kind of lag. It's like it goes a bit slower and faster. Yeah, this is then more like 20th place, 22nd. That's like the missing experience. I didn't know that this can happen. Like, I slid away in this hairpin. And then I couldn't even get around. Like, I didn't think that this would be a thing. Okay, now let's come back. Yeah, but what are these lags here? So around this tunnel. Super confusing. And I fixed like the big lag issue that I had with this game. But this map still has some other lag. I don't know. Oh my god, now nothing works anymore. What the heck? So 23rd. Can only get better, right? I mean, a 14th place looked like theory doable. Others will also still make mistakes. Look, I'm not even close to these pillars normally. Okay, I'm seeing now more cars ahead of me. I'm already 21st, so I actually overtook. Must have overtaken 2 people. Maybe disconnect, or they respawned in that part with 2 ways, and they respawned in behind me, and I didn't see that. This is probably a battle between Sender and Neko in the front, and Blackhead maybe as well, and Hawk. Yeah, Hawk as well. I mean, there are all the typical names, of course. But like from these typical names that you will see in every environment, Hawk is a very good desert player, Sender is always up there, and Neko is especially for desert as well. Top motivated for sure he is. 17th, I don't know how that happened. 18th. I don't know how I drifted away there. Dude, this game is so laggy there. What the heck, eh? This is also why I struggle with driving in this section. Yeah, on lap 8 of 12. Soon lap 9 of 12. So we got 2/3 of the race. The fastest players on first and second place, I kinda expect them that they might in the last laps overlap me as well. That's at least possible. That's also interesting for those, because they get to these cars that they have to overlap, and these cars are of course in the way, blocking the view a little bit, and there are no blue flags here. The guys there ahead of me also taking the safe line there. '18th place. Yeah, would be nice to overtake, because usually without a mistake, without a big stopping crash, which of course costed multiple seconds, and then also a lot of other small issues, I would be ahead. But it's kind of normal that I fight with Lucario here on desert in the back. That's actually not surprising and kind of a bit typical, because I think in the first United Masters season at the beginning of the year, I was also fighting with Lucario on desert. But a bit better, a bit further up. Because he was also more trained and I was a little bit more trained, and now... Nice. I win all the position, I win all the time on him, and then this. I didn't even risk, I don't know. pre-last lap now, it will be difficult to come back to Lucario. Chances bigger that I lose one more position if there's someone kinda close. And I think they didn't overlap me. Lucario is, by the way, also a save meister. Also he sees the gap to me and he will save it now accordingly. If that's him, then I really caught up a lot though. That's a bit dangerous for him. But I still need to rely on more time losses from him. Ha! Ha! I put so much pressure on him. Also, you see that ahead of me there is 32nd is Fett. And then Drago, those two I really could have beaten. But then, however, we have already a 12 seconds gap to the next guy, so there I'm not so sure anymore. Okay, so Luca kinda fucked it up there. He actually saved too much. I always do the same. Yeah, I always see the gap to behind and then I'm saving for that gap, and I'm often also saving it a little bit too much, so that if my opponent gets it much better than in other laps, then he actually would have a chance to pass me. And then sometimes the opponents actually get it that perfect, and then I'm screwed. I had that also. And Lucario, I mean, I'm already not a fast driver on this map, so he probably really took it super safe. And now, however, my last lap was really good. Like, my last lap was really nice. And nicer than he would have expected, I guess. I mean, you saw how far I was still behind with only 3-4 turns to go, but I got them all really good. I put so much pressure into the last turn on him that he stumbled under the pressure then. Crazy. Okay, so we got Sander winning ahead of Q, Sander with a 0.89 in the back. Then Neko is 10 seconds behind Sander, 7 behind Q already, wow, in 3rd place. Then Blackhead, Ahu, Hyp, Zepset and Hawk is only 8th, so I assume that Hawk crashed the risky quite often. Then we got Rim, Phil only 10th on Desert, is also interesting. Roa 11th, then Spitfire, Passy, Retired, whoever that is, Drago, Fett and myself. I'm pretty sure that the last lap was my personal best. So the next environment will be Island. Yeah, this is gonna be crazy and difficult. You can expect a lot of big crashes, of course. You can actually get a decent position here if you save. If you save, you can get a decent position, I think. But yeah, so you see in the bottom right myself with a 109.06 as PB for 1 lap, and the world record is almost 5 seconds faster. Lucario only trains basically one track a lot, and that is Island. This is his home environment, and he will go for the victory here. I also think that he can do that because he is a very consistent player with a steering wheel, similar to Granadi, and it's very doable for Lucario to keep the car in no slide. While I am, of course, now only driving with a gamepad. Oh yeah, I actually wanted to check that. Didn't do it yet. Here, look at that dead zone! Oh, of course I struggle. Here, we go far back with the dead zone. Oh my god. What the heck did I do with the dead zone? Am I going straight? Yeah. Yeah, okay, this should help a lot. Oh my god, what was that dead zone? That explains a lot why I was struggling also with these maps. Ah. Because I was not able to, like with that high dead zone, I'm not able to steer just a little bit. The steering only starts at a certain point where I'm already steering quite a lot. So the very small, tiny steerings were not possible for me. Okay. The only thing is you cannot go to 0 with the dead zone, because then the car is not driving straight on straights. Also you have your stick kinda in the middle. No, you just let the stick, you go away with your finger from the stick from the gamepad, but it does not automatically go perfectly into the middle, and then the car's always steering. That's why you need a dead zone. But when the dead zone is too high, then it means that you have to press your stick a lot to the side until it starts steering, and then you're already at like 20-30% steering already, and you can't steer like 10%. And yeah, need to find basically the best option. The thing is that it is different. Like, why was my dead zone now so high? Yeah, because every day it's different with the gamepad. There are days where I actually have to go to such a high number to try straight on straights, but then there are also other days where I don't need to do that, where I can go down to 0.05. So it's quite different. It's a day form from the pad, kinda. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, Sander and Lucario are the two big favorites here, fighting for first and second. And then the other drivers that you see in the top daddies that are seemingly fast. You see the 6th daddy is quite far behind with 105, but the daddy times don't really tell a lot. It's all about consistency in Island in such an endurance format, because a crash costs you multiple seconds, up to 10 seconds easily, because of a very slow acceleration of the car on very big blocks, but the average speed that you have during the track is very high. So if you crash and you go down from the high speed to basically starting from 0 again, then yeah. Starting from 0 again with that acceleration, it just takes a long time, and you don't have flying respawns in this game, yeah. So it's really not that great. That's why in Endurance Island, if you drive safe, if you drive consistent, there's always a decent position possible. But of course, to the very good positions, I have no chance, because they are like, in a lap, they can be up to 4 seconds faster than me, and that's then just too much. No, they will catch up so much if they don't crash. That mistake that I just had was, by the way, because of my dead zone change. So it was not really crash, but a drift. But I'm getting used to it for sure quickly. Yeah, these drifts that one car had touch the wall will fall down a lot to me. And you see here, there are so many slow cars. But some of those are from good players, these crashes, and they can easily catch up to me again and fly past me. later on. Unless they make more crashes. I had 3 cars suddenly coming up. But I was also catching up to some others. I'm getting overtaken by 3 cars at the same time. Nice. You see, they just take a bit more speed through the corners without sliding away. Just have then a bit more feeling for the gamepad. I think my hands are just too old now. My hands start to cramp, especially with these smooth steering. And I don't have that good of a feeling anymore to move the gamepad stick by just a little bit. But that's the one thing. The other thing is that I think that the gamepad is actually not perfect. There was a time where I used the PlayStation 3 gamepad. And that gamepad, it was different in these tiny steering maneuvers. It was better than my Logitech Rumble pad. Oh my god. I had no grip. That was a bit surprising. Oh god. Also in the very tiny steerings, this gamepad, the PlayStation 3 gamepad, was just better. A lot better. You could be more precise there. But there were other things in this gamepad that felt then again bad. Like, I wouldn't like to drive Stadium with that pad, for example. Also, I did that actually for some time, tried it, but it felt absolutely wrong. Yeah, and it was really not nice to drive with that in Stadium. But Island and Rally were the 2 environments where Prankster was very good, an old teammate of mine, and he used that pad and proposed it in, like that would be a decent pad for now. And then I used the pad and I understood directly why he is so good in Island and Rally. This pad was just better, yeah. I cannot explain why. It was just in low steering amounts, it was just better. It was more precise. As simple as that. Every pad has its strengths, kinda. And yeah, my Logitech Rumble pad that I'm using, also in that moment when it gets a bit older and starts with certain bug where it doesn't steer consistent anymore. When you smooth steer, it has not a consistent steering angle. It just switches between menu like very quick, and then you can of course easily slide out. All these issues make this not the perfect pad kind of for these environments. But I also don't really have at the moment the feeling in the hands to drive it, and I also would need a lot of practice to learn again where the limit of the car is, to get a feeling for the limit. Because at the moment, United feels on these environments quite annoying to me. It is like I drive so slow compared to the others through some corners, but in that moment when I'm... what the fuck? In that moment when I'm using a little bit more speed, I'm immediately sliding away as well. And sometimes I slide away just randomly, even though I go slow. Just randomly I get a slide out and bam. No? And I have like no feeling for where the limit is anymore. And yeah, and you cannot of course risk, yeah, it would require a lot of training. And I think that at my age, it would be probably easier if I was a joystick player, like many others are in this game. There are a bunch of joystick players, and they have not that many issues to get back into the game, to get good again in this game. I think with a joystick it's more simple to have the feeling. But I never used the joystick, so I would need to learn it now, so that's not really worth it. I have a steering wheel, of course, just not really the time to use it and learn the whole environments with that. But I was using it already in Island, and training some maps with it until I beat my gamepad run. It took a long time though until I was able to do so. And then I didn't play with the steering wheel again for months, so it would take a long time again now. Yeah, I'm 21st only, and I'm very far behind the next guys. So the problem is of course that I had time losses. Like if I drive a very clean race without any mistakes, then the whole thing would be possible to do better. But right now, it's not getting better. Like how many drifts did I have in a few corners now? And this tunnel entry, where my car lost all the speed. Oh my god, that was such a shit thing. I got a slide right before the tunnel entry that put me a little bit too far left. You have to enter it very middle-ish. It's so confusing that I, after all these drifts, now didn't lose further positions, but I guess behind me is just a gap. Ahead of me it's 4 seconds, like you don't see anyone because of this fast average speed of the car. The distance is then quite high, but it's actually only 4 seconds. If they make a mistake, they easily fall behind me. There is one. That's what I meant. Also maybe it was an overlap, but let's pretend it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I'm 20th. With all those mistakes, I really could have been a bit further ahead by now at least. But yeah, it's still island. And I'm no train, so... If I would have trained, I also might have looked if I can use some Deeks tweak settings for this map. To gain a bit of more confidence in the corners. In the last United Masters we had actually a map where DX3 settings perfectly worked, and then I was still not able to really battle others. I was still on a very bad position even though I felt like super good on it. So many small drifts, eh? Of course you always want to have the most efficient position in the end. So from how the race goes, yeah, what is the position that you think you could have gotten? Yeah, on lap 10 of 12. The cars that are close to me, I of course want to finish ahead of them. Here's an overlap possible. And I hear someone there. Not sure if that's now a fight or position. Or an overlap. Nevertheless, I had that part very bad. guess it was an overtake, not an overlap. I'm only 38 seconds behind first, there's no overlap yet. Oh god. No. Oh, this guy as well. Would be so easy to be ahead of both. We have one more lap to go. Okay. That's one position. Oh my god, there's someone coming. Oh? Ah! Nice how it stops there. What the heck, eh? So I got 20th, and Zeus was the guy ahead of me. This was the position I definitely wanted to have. Raptor and Kent are then 6 seconds in front. I beat you by 200s. 6 seconds in front, 14:03. And also jumper check, look at that, 14:03.58, 79 and 84. So those positions here were really doable, 16th. And also Prof and Sepset are not that far in front. And also these two, Draco, Blackhead, are not that far in front. I mean, 56 is 13 seconds in front of me, but look at how many drifts I had and everything. So this is like where I theoretically could have ended up. Behind Typ and myself was then a 4-second gap and so on. Naja, 20th place. What is now with the winner? Xander beats Lucario by 3 seconds. Q gets third, 1.5 seconds behind Lucario. Then we have Roa. Then a 10-second gap to Hawk. Spitfire, Neko retired. Also, what matters, as I said, are the top times. You see in the top, Lucario got the fastest time, Xander the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth fastest time, and all these get points. Lucario then again is 7, 8, 9, 10. Then Passy and Q also get some small points for fastest laps. Is it possible to SD an island, or do you always want to no-slide? There are... if you watch TAS runs, there are some weirdish kind of speed slides, but not comparable with Stadium. Also in a normal case, you just no-slide everything. Sometimes when you have a jump, you kinda wanna land in a very small angle to have very shortly some kind of lines that can gain a very, very small amount of time, like 200-300s. But like a long speed slide, that's not really happening. But you have in these TAS runs the case that the TAS for example, you have a jump and you land kinda right before a corner. Let's say it's a right corner. Then you angle your car to the left slightly, and directly after the landing, also the car basically gets skid marks due to the angling to the left. And exactly at the landing, you steer already consistent to the right. And then the car is like looking to the left, but driving to the right. And the tires make smoke. And the TAS uses this, so it probably is a kind of speed slide while doing no slide. As it's basically a quantum slide, uh, which looks super weird because the car doesn't really look into the direction it drives, but it has to do with kind of skid marks and sliding in theory. Uh, so yeah, that goes into such a direction of speed slide, but you can't really use that a lot in normal driving. Usually only people use these landings sometimes. The Island TAS ones are the sickest TASes that you can watch. Also Island TAS by Kimura, he's doing all of them. They are next level. There is way more happening than this. Also Island is full of Überbugs and stuff like that. And yeah, there's some certain bug slide technology that is a bit different to Stadium. But yeah, it is sick what he does with his TASes. Interestingly, there's no music in the podium sequence. We have now a small break. And still 4 maps to go. As I said, the only other track where I have a chance for a top position will be Coast. But also in Coast we have pure Coast drivers, a lot of pure Coast drivers. Hawk will be winning there with like 95% sure. But we also got Küken, who's just driving here. He was behind me. K. Spitfire will also be ready for Coast. Then Neko, Sander, Q, the typical all-rounders. They might also all of them be ahead of me. And the thing is that Phil and Sepsat are also good Coast drivers. So also even top 10 with my training is not safe. But I trained it now a bit more than other tracks. It depends on how consistent I can be. And to be honest, the biggest issue in Coast will be again that I have all the cars on. That will make it basically impossible. Because in Coast, you see nothing, and the most important thing, you hear nothing. You don't hear your gears, and that's annoying. I mean, what would you guys say? Should I, between the maps, leave the server? I mean, we have now still more of a break. 6 minutes. Would you say I should leave the server and change the settings so that it becomes more drivable with less cars? Or would you say it doesn't matter now anyway, just keep all the cars on for the fun and take the challenge? What would you guys say? I mean, as I'm not really fighting now for super good positions here overall, it is not that important for me, I think, what I'm doing. But on the other hand, I of course wanted to show on Stadium that I'm kinda good there, and couldn't really because I had the cars on. On Coast I will also be way further behind than what I should be. That is kinda obvious because in the first laps I will just lose multiple seconds. In Coast you see nothing. It's really a big challenge. It's like an interesting challenge that you can do when you don't really fight for top positions. It still will annoy in the end a little bit because I won't have the position that I should be on. But yeah. You guys can share your thoughts about that. Warming up my hands in my pants right now. Okay, let's change it. Check again the, yeah. So basically I start the game here, go into the configuration, and then here in player, also the game, you say here that you don't want to see cars close to you, and you say here that you want to have a limit of cars that you can see, and the minimum is apparently 4. I never tried what happens when you type in 3. And then you have it like this. So Bay is starting. Oh, Sus did actually answer still. that was quick, I mean. So now you see it's always 4 cars showing. And I also said, like, it doesn't show me the cars that are the closest to me or that are in my car. Those are not shown. So only cars around me. Once they are in myself, they are not shown. And you also see that it switches now which cars it shows. So now, however, you have absolutely no clue on what position I am. Like, what is your guess? Take a guess. What is my position? '11th, actually. Wow. I would have guessed worse because there were such gaps. But okay. Someone driving backwards there? Like the track the other way around? Some people are doing weird stuff, that's for sure. Yeah. Someone is a ghost driver here. Oh my god, how many people are doing stuff? Oh my god, that's a meme race. I mean, I will get a good position here for sure. Or are we not live? Because that's a bit weird what we're seeing here. It feels like it can't be live. Because also on Bay I'm missing like 4 seconds per lap. Oh my god! Oh, I hate that. And I didn't even lose a single place. Nah, that can't be live. I didn't check it. But there are too many cars standing around, so... We are restarting. Cube issues with Pat. Oh, even here in the United community, a 34% steering choke. Cube is restarting the PC. I was on PB. Minus 64. So quite a huge PB actually. Alright, so don't expect me to be second again now. So in Bay you can expect a battle between Q and Sander. Let's go. You can again make a guess on what position I am driving on. After one lap maybe. It was much better last time than I expected because, yeah, not everyone was driving, of course. Eighteenth. Holy shit, how much I lost with that jump. Oh, man, this is such a dumb thing, ey. Pass on sucks. So I went with the other car into the corner. I was too late with my releasing. I knew I will touch on the outside, which is not like a big issue. Yeah, okay, I touched there. But this wall has so many edges that it was unclear what my car will do. And it got, of course, pushed further to the left. In the last moment, when I exited the wall, it got pushed further left. And I had like no chance to get the next tight section. Like I was already releasing because I was on the wall and everything, but the wall did exactly the worst possible outcome there. Oh god. I mean, I had a decent first lap, and there's, after all the warm-up from before that restart, I really felt decent on this. Yeah, race is not over, but I just lost, of course, easily 8 seconds or something. Also, the respawn is so shit now. So many mistakes. Okay, from here on I drive good. I have now no car right ahead of me. Oh, I have a car right ahead of me. And the cars that are further in front, if they make mistakes, they fall directly behind. I should read. Wow, I'm already 21 seconds behind first. What the heck? Also on this map, I tell you, here an overlap will definitely happen. Unless I drive now really good. As said, Send on Q are the one step better. These cars ahead of me there. And now this little bit too much in front. Without my respawn, I would be ahead of that group. Don't tell me that's already the overlap that I was talking about. Just that this car has a lot of speed. Nah, can't be 33 seconds. I would have been surprised as well, because I actually did drive off mistakeless. And it's just a good driver that made many mistakes and was behind. Really messed up that drift. Drift is a very unique corner. Usually don't drift in Bay. So I caught up to that group, but then also people that were behind me caught up to me. So there's a lot of different positions are possible to get. I'm a bit surprised about losing grip and jumping away there. Everyone is doing so consistent. You really see that this must be Danik B ahead of me, because in this fast section he has to release a lot and loses a lot of time. In this section he probably will do well. You see that now the difference is not that big between the old setting where I saw all the cars and now where I only see 4 cars. Or we are on the last lap. I hope that one of them will crash in they fight. Right ahead of him. I saved it also perfectly. Yeah, behind me are a bunch of cars, so I finished with a 15:00.38. Behind me is a 15:00.44 by Blackhead behind me. Then 15:00.90 by Danik B, 15:01.03 by Drago, 15:01.70 by Zeus. So that Zeus is like 4 positions behind me. And it's like a second or something like that. Behind him is then Drim, and then we have the big gap to Boom, Chaotic Raptor. Ahead of me was Jumper Check, not far away. And we got TM Shock, also not too far away. But then 13th place and 12th place are huge gaps. Also 12th place, 4 places in front of me, 17 seconds, 4 places behind me, 1 second. So it is overall a decent result for the race. I should have been 14th, but it could have been much worse when you see it that. So. Yeah, Zeus, of course I finished last of the train. Yeah, so we got... I wonder who was the guy that crashed there, from all the guys. Like the one guy that crashed and fell behind me, I really wonder who it was. So we got Sander winning again against Q by 1.2 seconds. Then they have an 8-second gap already, 8 to 9 seconds to Hyp, and we waited for him. You see now why Bay is a good environment for him. Then Neko, Roa, Phil, Hawk, Passy, Zeps at only 9th on a good environment for him, but he was also saying something in the in-game chat that something was not working for him. Retired, Spitfire, Aru, Prof, Shock, Jumper Check, myself. Yeah, also for not training the maps any further, it is, I think, pretty decent how I played. The top times, look at that. 1:10.13 by Q, 3/10 ahead of his second best, and then 5/10 ahead of his third best. Then we got Sander, then Hyp, then Q, 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 Sander, Q, Sander. So you know, however, you know already how this whole thing was looking this race. Q was the faster player, then Sander, but Q made a bunch more mistakes. That's how it will have been. Totally. Yeah, okay. So I thought about training this map with Dig Streak once, but now I will try it without. Never use Dig Streak here. You cannot use it in a very good way anyway, only a very small setting, because you have a bunch of tight corners and chicanes. Oh, it starts already. Okay. Then that was a choke by Blackhead or something? It was something like we have to restart again. Oh, yeah. Okay, rally starts. Let's go. Ach, I see the problem. This is challenge 6 of 7 now. Instead of 5 of 7, because we had no 2 bay races. That's the issue what they are talking about. On rally I expect a pretty poor position. So if I would need to bet on my position, I would say 24th. Now I also know why I yesterday had so much trouble to get no slides in this environment. And I mentioned that I struggle so much to get no slides, it was because of the high dead zone, I guess. Uppsala. I don't really have a feeling for this car now. Also not for the track. I'm 25th right now, so I could be correct as 24th. The favorite for winning on this map is Blackhead. Yeah, a bunch of cars not far in front of me. Maybe I can learn rally a little bit better, get more feeling during the race. Get faster and overtake at the end. Because when positions are so close ahead of you, you really want to get them. With a lower dead, so now I should be able to no-slide better in my seeding. That's the 24th place, by the way. Oh, this guy's ripped. He's very ripped. I don't know, something is wrong with this track. Or with the gamepad or something, I don't know, I can't. Like still, even though with that, I cannot no slide on this map. It's like impossible for me to no slide. In any corner, like everything feels so drifty. I'm very confused. It's also like a day form sometimes, but on this track it was now every time I drove it like that. But that lap here was really poor. I can't take this part. At least I have this one battle with Kent. How am I sliding away there? Maybe it's also because I have these different skid marks now for Stadium. That those confuse me completely than in other environments. I'm not used to such big skid marks. But that is definitely not the reason for everything. What was that break? What's happening? I crashed with low speed against the wall. Then I brake shortly to get a no slide. And I brake for like half a second suddenly. Until I stand still. I just lost like 2 seconds for nothing. The end of last lap was pretty good. Okay, but if I get beaten here by Kent, then I'm at least on the 24th place. No, but in theory I shouldn't get beaten by him. I say that already also hurts the hands very much. With this lap I'm apparently ahead of my PB lap. Not anymore. We're gonna go for PB lap now. I get these weird legs again. Oh my god. Oh. Oh, I'm learning how to rally. Look what I caught up in one lap. Seems like also here there is no overlap. Nice. I mean, yeah, if I'm losing 4 seconds in average to the first place, over 12 laps that's only 48 seconds. That's still far away from overlapping. Wait, last lap. Need to focus to get better than 24. Because he's surely still close to me. What are these legs, man? So not really legs, it's like... I cannot describe it. The screen is going faster and slower. Maybe with my fix against the legs, this is like the thing that I get then, however. Maybe it is that V-Sync thing. It makes it look like that sometimes. Okay, also 23rd, a second out of Kent. Hand is dead. You see Blackhead winning as expected, but Sander gets the second place right ahead of Neko, Hyp, Drim, Ahu, Roa. Super close together, everything. But Blackhead far in front. Q is only 8th. That will hurt him a little bit because Sander's right ahead of that group. He's behind. Shock is also only 9th. And then people like Hawk get only 10th here. So Rally is like a very special environment. Behind me, there was a kind of bigger gap to Prof then with 5 seconds and Putre and so on. But yeah, ahead of me, like huge gap. These 3 players, Raptor, Draco, Boom, I could have gotten if I have full feeling, but yeah. So Neko has the fastest lap time, lol. Where was he? 3rd. Oh. But then Blackhead, then Sander. And then Blackhead, Ahu, Blackhead, Sander, Neko, Blackhead. Okay. Now comes, oh, not Coast. Now comes Alpine. We start with Stadium, we end with Coast. But yeah, actually I must say, Rally, I have to drive it with the X-Streak. It is just also better for the hands. If I can full steer more. Like the whole time, this like semi-much steering, boah, that hurts. That hurts so hard. So, also Snow is super difficult. This track is super difficult. 20 points between top 3, insane. Is that really the case? I mean, if you take Bay for example, you have to see following. Sander has won on Bay against Q, yeah? But Q got the most fastest lap time, so Q actually scores better points than Sander. Just as an example. But the way Sander drove until here, I cannot believe that it is right that the top 3 are only separated by 20 points. I cannot really believe that. Because Wu wants to keep up with him. Maybe in the command UM2 exclamation mark UM2, do you have a link to the website? Maybe you can follow actually the standings. If you want to do it, chat, then go on with it and you can tell me if there's actually live points already there for semi-final and how it's looking there. If that's true with the 20 points in between who it is. Maybe you can give an update there. It counted the first bay. I see Passy writing. I already was thinking about that. I was already thinking about it. Then Sander probably didn't drive much there. then I would be very far in front in theory. Because I got second on the first bay. That would give me so many points. Also the hard parts here on this map, I mean the others are, there were also other very difficult ones, for example Bay was also difficult, and Island is generally difficult. But this map here has so many transitions, and with a lot of speed you have to nail tight turns, and in Snow it is very important that you keep it full speed, because you only lose speed in turns by braking or by oversteering them too much. But you cannot really gain. You have to keep your momentum high. So it is kind of a full speed environment, unless there's a super tight corner after a lot of speed. And keeping this momentum is very difficult, because the turns are of course built in a way that they are super tight. But then you also have the parts here with very weird transitions. Also for example this one here, where things can easily go wrong. Then you have also the tube exit here with the landing. Kinda want to land good, someone landed very bad. Here, this is now the difficult thing, to keep your car with high speed. Don't touch here anything. You get booster, you have to get through 2 chicanes. I touch. Here's at least then the next booster, but you cannot do full stopping. But now comes the most difficult part, and that's this Apel. Like, you can get that very perfect with only a low amount of airtime, but it's so difficult. And then I also I don't like it, but it happens just so often, to touch these red poles. I don't know why that happens though. I really don't understand, because I want to get far away from them. Yeah, it's not needed to drive close to them, and still I sometimes touch them. What you have to know about this car is that the mirrors are actually the side of the car. It's not what you would usually think. Like, the hitbox of this car is bigger than what you think, because the hitbox is at the mirrors. And it's not just the mirrors itself, it is also above and underneath the mirrors, where it doesn't look like you would touch something, but that's how wide the hitbox of this car is, and that's why you sometimes touch something when you don't expect. Yeah, then make it with all these cars here, it's quite difficult. I mean, you can jump into this checkpoint and just respawn in it. It is not that bad. We are exactly that section. Now I didn't hit the red poles, but beforehand. Like, I don't even know why it happens. I don't even try to be any close to any wall, but it just happened. I cannot explain. Somehow, it feels like this part is magnetic or something. It's pushing my car always close to the walls. I don't even want to. Man, I was so slow going into this uphill that I really thought that I'm safe. But no. It is so weird because you have to use your brake button in order to slow down for that transition. But the brake of this car is so strong that it's very difficult to really get the perfect speed for this jump. Like in other cars it is easier to brake the exact amount, but here I feel like it's very difficult, at least for me. Yeah, that was now an annoying time loss, of course. But I have to say, it also gets more laggy now again. And this is not helpful on an environment like this, where you have to do so many steering movements in short amount of time. That doesn't help if it's lagging there. You see, this is like such a struggle part. Also really, this is completely, it ruins the flow completely, the section. It's so difficult to survive it. Huh? I mean, you see how much I struggled with that. It is now a bit worse than when I drove this map in the qualification, I have to say. But here in this part, it's so laggy, like, huh? Car had crashed. I have only one car in front of me. Oh! Oh, we saw it live. Live on Twitch. This guy got a nice bug. He went over the edge of the road in the inside and just bumped up. But he was at least that lucky that he was still getting into the checkpoint there. Imagine he misses the checkpoint, then it's very bad for him. At least he could respawn there. His problem, however, is that there is not a booster right after the respawn. I saw in the first lap someone respawning, they're also losing a lot of time. Oh, I'm 19th only. Okay, I expected a better position, if I'm honest. Really expected a better position. Because we know that there's a bunch of cars behind me. Yeah, a bunch of cars are definitely behind me. I really expected to be further in front. If I'm getting rid of this car behind me, then I have of course now a good chance to drive like my own pace and not having cars annoying. Okay, they are the next people. They lost time last lap. And Snow, by the way, or there are a bunch of favorites. There's not this one favorite. Snow is an environment where Zepset often is doing very well, but here it depends of course on his training. I don't know if he did an extra training for this environment now. But Snow has a bunch of good players. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was Sander who wins the whole thing again. It's a dumb mistake. Yeah, on lap 8 of 12. I definitely would like to make some more positions. Because I felt like always in the seeding when I drove this map, I felt actually kinda decent on it. So I expected a better position on this track than on aftertrack. Oh, there are so many cars in front of me. Holy moly. Yeah, so you see that that's again this kind of race where you have like a close battle somewhere in the midfield. And you of course ideally want to be the car that is ahead of that field and not the car that is right behind. But I have been catching up in the last laps here. I'm only 18 seconds behind first, by the way. That's how close the field is together on this environment and this track. I said hardest map, but maybe it's actually not true when you see that the field is overall way closer together. And to be honest, there were no mistakes in front of me now, since ages. Yeah, nobody of them did a mistake. So I must say that I expected more mistakes on this track. We have 3 more laps to go, and there are like 4 cars at least ahead of me. But I need to drive very fast if I want to catch up, and then once I have caught up to them, I have oops, oh yeah, it was close. I have of course the issue that I have to overtake, where I always struggle with, because then I have the cars around me. I lost some time there. Wasn't the greatest lap. You saw it in the fight against the other guy. I couldn't catch up to the guys in front anymore. And we are in the last lap if I counted correctly. Yeah. Only hope for bugs or mistakes in front of me. Ja. I don't know why that happened. that I didn't make this corner. And that I got such a wall hit. I mean, a normal wall hit would have been fine, but why did I go onto 2 wheels? It cost me now 1 position. I'm not sure if more was... Yeah, okay, I would... Nah, actually I could have had 2 people more. Because they must have lost time in the end. The guy that overtook me is Hawk. What is the most surprising thing ever? What does Hawk do here in 18th place? And he's actually only a 10th behind Raptor and also close to Prof. So I would have been 16th with a good last lap. I don't know what they did, but they also lost time. But the Hawk is extremely far behind, and I'm still ahead of people like Susan, Drim, and so on. It's crazy. Neko won 700ths of a second in front of Sander. Then Passi and Roa 300ths away from each other for 3rd and 4th. Then we have also close Phil and Hyp. Then a small gap to Zepset, Blackhat, Jumper Check, and Q is only 10th place. So he is losing a lot. He is losing a lot of points here on snow. And then we got here the other place. Ahu was like a top snow player back in the days. Yeah, as I said, it was still possible to get up to Prof. Yeah. What was my mistake in the beginning? I had once this small respawn that I mentioned already. So around here, Spitfire, Aru, Drago would have been maybe possible, but yeah, only with a very good race. Yeah, your hands are dead, Danik. Yeah, I can see that. Which Trackmania is this? Trackmania United forever. Okay, the last race is gonna start. We might have to restart the plugin. Yeah, they did. Alright. So I got a much better PB now than this 1:14:04 that you see in the daddies. I was now in the 1:13 mids. But I realized that one position better than my 1:14:04 is actually in the 1:13 mid. So what the heck? And how do you drive 1:11? So I guess the chance of me doing super well on coast is still not so big when the times are so much faster by the others. I don't really see where they would gain that though. That's super confusing. There's only one corner that I don't really feel great on. And we are coming to that corner very soon. It is this left turn, where people surely have the possibility to keep the gear. I have to use less music and I need to hear my gears. I have to do that more louder. Also I trained Coaster a little bit after the qualifying, because it's one of my better environments and I wanna do better here. But with cars on, it's always tough already, because you don't hear the gears of your own car that well. That always hurts kinda. And naja, when I look at these times, as we have a lot of good coast drivers, a lot of motivated drivers in coast environment. I'm not the only one anymore. And yeah, the times are just, naja, crazy. The biggest favorite here is Hawk. He should win this. I opt for a top 10 position, that would be nice. I mean, I'm not that trained that I can go for top 3 or anything, but I mean, top 10 will also be tough, because there are just a lot of decent players on the server, of course. But I kinda hope that I can get there. With a clean race, I'm pretty sure that's possible, even though my fastest lap time is apparently that slow still. What the heck? I'm a little bit confused with that. This It's now also a race against the pain. The hands are hurting quite a lot. Yeah, I think I didn't add all the coast music that I wanted to add. There is a nice song from Trackmania Sunrise. I have that in my folders, but here on this PC I didn't put it in yet, I think. Definitely have to do that. There's a coast song that I really love. Okay, we are going live with Coast. Coast is really also such a race where it is all about the cars around you. When you have a car ahead of you, it's very difficult to overtake. Usually I'm just driving behind and waiting for the mistake by the other car. And I really have to wait for that moment when I'm finally having no car around me, and then I can drive a second faster immediately. That's how coast races usually go for me. So the first half a lap is very important in theory. If I would get into the top places there, ahead of the group of cars, then I would be so much better in the whole race. I dropped the gear there. First lap problem. Oh. First! It's a bug in United. When you have interface off and the race is over suddenly, then you can't make the interface on during the podium. So surely some player had a disconnect early on in the race and we restarted now. Or the plugin didn't work. And we restarted. But I cannot make the interface on now. That's like the annoying thing here in this game. You get surprised by that. It's like a minute long. and once the podium sequence is over, I can make interface on, and we will see if it starts then or not. I have to quickly find out. But that's always a really shit situation to be in. Like you wait now for a whole minute here, nothing happens. And you have no clue what's happening in the chat. Oh, back to stadium. get another warm-up. We might skip it. Yeah. If it works, okay. Kept the gear this time. Yeah, on this turn I'm losing a bunch of time. Whoever that was, I can't look right now, thank you. He took the roof hit. You really don't want to slide away in that last turn. Happened to me quite often already. And this is the situation I need to use now. I have to make sure that nobody catches up to me. And I have now... and I would have now some free space ahead of me and can drive properly. But this guy made a mistake, so he will get close to me again. pretty good race so far. I see there's a lot of chatting, but I just explain a bit. It's the last race of the whole cup today. We played a 12 lap race on every map. This is the last 12 lap race on one of my best environments, but I'm not very trained. I want to get a top 10 position here on this environment. That would be cool. And I think that I'm top 10. We check soon. I'm 9th. Made a mistake there. Not a big one, luckily. But at that moment when I'm in a battle with another car, I'm getting way slower. Because I can't hear my gears that well, and because the cars are so wide compared to the street. They block a lot of view and so on. So having this free vision, I have to use it as good as I can in order to create some gap with good laps. Because only now I'm able to drive on my best level when I'm having no car around me. Cars are forced on, if you wondered. I got a very bad gear there. Yeah, he drifts again. He drifted 3 times already in this race. I saw it already coming, this lap. This basically shows also how difficult it is to overtake someone, even though we are all just ghosts. When you try to overtake someone in coast, it's very risky to actually make a mistake there. It's hard to explain why. But it feels always like you are stuck behind an opponent and you can only overtake when he makes a very bad mistake or bad corner. It's obvious I don't have the pace from the guys ahead. But that was what I expected. That's like more than this position is probably not possible. But with a clean race, the top 10 is doable, and yeah, currently I'm 9th. That is a clean race so far. Also typical for coast, if you do make a mistake and you wanna catch up again to make the time good again that you lost with a mistake, you usually do more mistakes. It is really that in coast you cannot just catch up. I almost fucked it up there because I touched the curb almost. I thought that I touched it. Oh. That must be a fast guy. Yeah, you see, a car in me, immediate mistake. Very annoying. So this guy made definitely some bigger mistakes. Because I think that he's way faster. I have now such a slow lap that the black car will be close again to me. I didn't see that car. Red greenish. It's someone else. I'm yakking this corner. I cannot drive this that fast. You saw it last lap. The other guy overtook me in that corner and I was still the one that slid away. We are on lap 8 of 12. So these cars there that overtook me now, those are the cars that were stuck in the traffic, I can tell you. They were stuck in the traffic and it took them like 6 laps or something to get ahead of the other cars and have some free laps, and then they could finally catch up to me. I was just released earlier from the traffic and that helped me in this case. Usually I'm the one that is stuck in traffic. And I definitely would be if I would drive against 31 cars visible. But I limited it to 4 now, because otherwise coast is undrivable in the start. Of me was an overtake. Okay, even though I have free vision, I'm driving much slower than I thought. But when you see what kind of Deadymania records in the one lap I have on this map, then you wonder how can I be 11th when I drive only those times. But yeah, I thought that the last lap would have been a very good one, close to my PB, and it turned out to be extremely far behind. I'm very surprised about that. I expected it like a second faster almost. Just overtook the grey car. Who is that guy? It's Pussy. He will try now everything to catch up to me. We are on the last lap. Someone made a mistake ahead. lost that drift? That he did. But that might be an overlap. Yeah, it was an overlap. And finish line. Oh, 9th place. Wait. Maybe it wasn't an overlap? I don't know. Whatever. I was 11th and I got these 2 places, and ahead of me like is a 3-second gap to Prof and Küken, and then another 3-second gap to Spitfire, and then above, in front of that is like a huge gap to the battle between Center, Roa, Q, Phil and Neko. And what do I find out? Hawk is only 12th place. The favorite for winning here on Coast is only in 12th place. Like, how is that possible? But Phil very close out of Q. GG. But whatever happened to Hawk? Hawk has the fastest time at the top, ahead of Neko, Phil, Neko, Hawk, Roa, Neko, Q, Neko, Hawk, Neko, Q. Interesting. If there was no Roa in between, it would be always like a mix between Neko, Hawk and Q. But Hawk is also not so dominating here with the top times. He was then probably just within the other cars, or whatever happened to him. He had some issues, like he was last race also just 18th on snow, where you wouldn't expect him to be. The winner of the United Solo competition. And Sander only 5th here. But Coast is really not his best environment, so it's damage control, but yeah, he has a huge gap to the next guys. Yeah, 9th place on Stadium and Coast. It's okay. And that's it. So now let me check your... Now let me check. It was Tomsky with a Prime sub. Thank you a lot. Does the new Trackmania still have that feature where you can upload your own 3D car model to a web server and the other players will automatically download it and see it? That was so amazing. Nations Forever. No, I have no idea about it, but Neetu did answer. Why not turn cars off? It's not possible. The server is set with cars forced on. Alright, GG. Wow, almost 3 hours, the whole thing. It's crazy. Almost 3 hours.